Hey everyone, look at that beast. What do you think he's thinking? Well, I did a little reading and I'm going to share what I've learned. We're going to learn a little bit about elephant behavior. God bless everyone who's contributed, and especially Kathleen for paying for my campsite in Kruger. Somebody set this skull up in the field. I thought it was pretty wild. I love the water buffalo. And this is my kind of traffic jam. I spent a lot of time in the car just waiting for animals to cross. And you know what? I hate regular traffic, but this didn't bother me a bit. I could wait for animals like this all day long. It was pretty cool. So this is one of my favorite watering holes, and these big buffalo, I'm assuming they're males because there's just the three of them, and they're so huge. They headed to the watering hole, and I just love them. Then there was this one wildebeest, and I was like, I wonder why he's alone. That was odd to me. But look how massive these creatures are, so huge, and I love them so much. And then all of these impalas started showing up, and the buffalo were hilarious. They're just like, we got to get out of here. This is too much. And obviously, I don't know if that's what they were thinking, but it sure seemed like it because they were chilling until the impala got there. And then the impala just kept coming and coming. I love that photo. Isn't that cool? So, and then this bird showed up, and I was like, wow. That's amazing. So it's a saddle-billed stork. So cool. And he's a fisher. He is hunting for fish. It was really fun to watch him. So watch this now. I'm going to slow it down. Yeah, see the fish jump? And the stork is like, whoa, that was cool. And being a fisher person myself, I was like, yeah, I would jump too. I'd want that. So that was the normal speed. And there was other fish surfacing out in that area. And I never saw that stork get a fish. There's another fish jumping. But I think he was sure interested. And not an island, still a hippo. And there he's moving around a little bit. I sped it up for time. But it's hard to catch those guys. We're going to see some in the future, though. Don't worry. And then there was one guy way out there who's like, hey, is there room for me at that watering hole? And we're going to see why he's hesitant to come up here. Not in this episode, but in a different one. And then that stork is like, dude, that's not an island. Get off of there. And so as I was driving out, I saw this tree. And then did you see what's at the base? These two giraffe were at the base of the tree. Watch these two. I think they were like mates because they're like so affectionate. Look at them. Like rubbing on each other and stuff, and they're very sweet. And yeah, I'm assuming that the smaller one is female, and then in this one he's like licking the top of her horns, and I read that that's a social bonding behavior. And then so this elephant like grabs a big old mouthful of this bush, but then what's funny to me, she like stops and then like stares right at me. And so many elephant were doing that. So I had a slow leak in the front tire, and when I went to go get it fixed, one of the back tires was totally flat and couldn't be fixed. So I had to put on the spare and then get that slow leak fixed, and I had to get a new tire because it couldn't be fixed. So I was driving to the next town. I saw this elephant, and he was like also staring right at me. So I came in where the red arrow is at the bottom there. That's where I drove into the park. I'm camped where that star is, and I had to drive 2 hours out to where that yellow arrow is to get a new tire. So I drove out there, and praise Jesus, they had just the exact tire I needed, and they got it mounted and balanced. and did it at a pretty fair price. I'm going to try and get reimbursed because I got insurance. But there it is, brand new tire. So now I had a spare. So this sculpture is at the entrance that I went through on that north end. And it was so sad. Like, I know that people do this. They cut the horns off of the rhino. But God, it's heartbreaking. So I got back into the park. Of course, I see the omnipresent giraffe. And the kudu, I think, is my favorite antelope. Just beautiful. Look how incredible this creature is. I love the color of the coat. I love the mane, the hair on the neck and the shoulders, and those horns, those corkscrew horns. So cool. What a great creature. So handsome. And big herds of zebras. And then this one, I think, was still trying to nurse. He was looking for a snack, I think. But mom was letting him, so there you go. And then, I love the vultures. They're like a very social bird and very sweet. They're very cool. So I sped this up for time, but this is a group of young and female elephants, but they're just like staring at me. Like all the elephants were staring at me today, and I don't know why. I learned just a tiny bit, but I don't know why everyone was staring at me today. But they're crossing the road, and you see they're just like staring me down as they're crossing the road. It's crazy. And then this guy was in the watering hole wallowing in the mud, and we're going to see more of him later. And then this guy came across, big bull, came across the road, and I sped it up for time. But he's just massive. They're such incredible creatures. And he's just like covered in mud, and he's the biggest kid on the block. So when they raise their trunk like this, they're trying to identify what I am. He's sniffing around, trying to see what I am. This is what I've read anyway. And I just read a little bit, so I'm not an expert. But look at that beast. He's just incredible. We're going to see a lot of big, amazing elephants this episode. So he's headed down to where that other one was wallowing, and look at the posture of the other one. He's like angry, right? He's squaring off against that other elephant. Look at that. And then, so eventually he starts leaving. And then I also learned that when they drape their trunk over their tusk like that, that's a sign of dominance. And so I think that there's some friction between those two bulls. And he's lifting up his trunk there. I don't know what that means. Usually it means they're trying to sniff, but it was pointed backwards. I don't know. So I sped this up, but yeah, he totally looks agitated to me with the ears and his posture. He's like pawing at the ground. And then watch him come up out of the watering hole, like shaking his head and like these exaggerated movements. And the thing that I read said that could be called swagger, like these unnecessary movements. And so I sped this up as he's coming towards me. And then he's kind of like hiding behind this tree, but looking right at me. I could just feel him staring at me in the car. And again, the elephants were doing this all day long, and I don't know why, like what I was doing to promote that behavior. But he starts coming across here, coming towards the road, towards where I'm at. And so when their trunk does this, when it hangs straight down, but it moves at the end, that can be a sign of anxiety, and they're trying to figure out what to do next. You see all the mud and stuff on his back. So he may have been kind of wound up, and I feel bad. I pray I didn't do anything to promote that anxiety. But then he starts coming back again, and you see how high the ears are. And he gets to the road, and he looks at me again. He's looking right at me. And then look at that face. What a face. So beautiful. And I got some pictures here. I love it so much. What an incredible animal. And then he comes across, but his tail is relaxed. So that's a good sign. If they're super agitated, supposedly the tail will be straight out. But look at that head shake there. And he comes up onto the road, and his ears are up again. Because there's a difference between fanning for cooling and then like having the ears high and shaking for dominance. And then he he stops and he looked right at me. And he comes over here, watch his head, watch. Whoa, so amazing. Here's in slow motion. This is half speed. Watch the ears. Boom. Is that crazy or what? I can believe I was watching this. So incredible. And then as he saunters off, I think this is what I read was as the swagger. Like looked at the shoulders and everything move and all that. It was just so amazing. And then this is a different bull. Look at the tusks on him. But his ears are more relaxed. He's got a little bit of fanning motion, but not that shaking and stuff. And the tail is totally relaxed, totally like flat, just maybe a little side to side. And from what I read, this means that they're chill. And his trunk is only looking for food. It's not shaking, it's not up. It's just exploring the world around it and trying to get a snack. And he's got no swagger. His body is relaxed. But look at the tusks on this guy. What a majestic creature. Good golly. I love that shot. And look at the trunk. Look at the dexterity. I have this sped up, but look at the dexterity of that trunk. He's just like getting those green branches and really twisting them around. If you've ever broken green branches, you know how hard that is. But that incredible dexterity in that trunk to get around those branches and twist those off. So this was like a different spot, different elephant. It's like, oh, how idyllic. All the impala there, and then over on the other side, there's all these buffalo, and it was like such a beautiful scene. But then I sped this up, but look at this head shake coming up here. Like he started getting wound up. Wow, look at that, such power. And then over here too, he's just, it's more exaggerated because it's sped up, but maybe he just had to poop too, because there he's pooping. So yeah, I think there was a lot of elephants getting ready to breed, and then my favorite baobab tree, sunset back at camp. What a crazy day. I have a spare tire, thank God. Thank you so much for watching. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who's helping make this possible. And thank you, Helena. I really appreciate you. Please go over to YouTube and give this a thumbs up. That really helps me out. And as always, my friends, peace and love to you all.